of that out there. That's not going to be what this is. I want to give an accurate picture of what it really is about. Not just talk about all the different fetishes, which brings up another major point of BDSM, is that it's not always sexual. I am a straight man. I have a sub who is also a man. Now he is gay, but he's not the first man that has been a submissive to me. And there's nothing sexual about it. My role in his life is nothing more than what I would do for any friend that asked me to do it. He needs help to not be so lazy with his education. He graduated from college. He's looking into going to grad school. With the grades that he had from college, there's no reason why that shouldn't happen. But he hasn't taken the GRE yet. And he keeps saying, well, I'm going to do that next month. Well, have you registered for it? No. So, well, I really need somebody to kind of make me do that. Now, some people say, well, he just needs to man up. Yes, but he never learned how. And that's the role of a dominant, is to train. We train our submissives. Now, everyone knows it as sexual training. But there's so much more to it than that, and that's what I want people to understand. That in that movie that came out, that was a certain color, that was a mix of black and white, that was based on a best-selling book that came out a few years ago. It's all about beating, and just really, when I watched that with my wife, I was just shocked, because the majority of what takes place in that movie is actually abuse. It is not true BDSM. And I can't wait to see the second and third movie, if they make them. The first one was so bad, they may back off from making those. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But, so that's one area. And he's 23. Another area that he needs help with is drinking, doing the college thing. It's not that he's an alcoholic. It's just that he doesn't have anybody to answer to, and he's not used to that. So it's kind of like parenting an adult in this case. Do I get paid to do this? Sometimes. With him, I don't. And that is simply because of the way that it all came about. It's a friend. By creating the psychological feeling of dominance over him, and he feels that submission to me. So it's not always sexual. And in live-in DS relationships, the majority of the time, it's not sexual. There are times during that relationship, of course, that it is. But, as with any relationship, vanilla, which if you don't know, that's what people in the BDSM community refer to those who are not. You're referred to as vanilla or plain, and it's no disrespect at all. It's just meant as kind of a comical thing. But in any relationship that I have ever been in, or that I have ever seen, and you look at sitcoms and listen to comedians and listen to therapists, good old Dr. Phil, sex is a small part of a relationship. You're together all week long, and all week, you may have sex once or twice or 3 or 4 times, but for most people, that only takes up 10 or 15 minutes of their evening, especially people that have been in long relationships, because they know how to push each other's buttons. And let's be honest, if you've been in a long relationship, you're not going to be 18 or 19 or 20. If there's any people in their early 20s, even to late 20s listening to this, chances are what you consider a long-term relationship and what somebody who is, 35, 40, 50, 70, 90 considers a long-term relationship, that's going to be two totally different definitions. Sure, you're with somebody a year, and if that's the longest relationship you've ever had, then that may appear to be, a long time to you. But really, for people who have been married to someone for a while or been with somebody for, 5 or 6 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, whatever, then that's just not that long. But, the sexual act itself, for people who have been in these long-term relationships, on average, it's like 10 to 15 minutes. So you've got, we'll say white picket fence America. You go to work from 9 to 5, you come home, you have dinner, you spend time with the family. If you have children, you spend time with the children. And you look at Facebook, you play your little games on your Android or your iPhone or your iPad or Windows Phone or whatever it may be, and then it's off to bed. And if the stars are aligned and things have been going well, then you might have a little romp for 10 or 15 minutes. And that's okay. One of the reasons why it gets shorter the longer you've been together is because you know each other's buttons to push. So that's just it's just something to think about. That if you have sex with your partner 4 times a week, and that's your average, then that's an hour. And you take that hour, if you're home from get home at 6 and you go to bed, say, at 11, that's 5 hours. That's 35 hours that you're together a week if you work 7 days a week, so that's not counting the weekend. And again, this is white picket fence America here. The perfect, the dream life, the American dream. So 34 hours of the week, you're not having sex. Now, you may be flirting with each other. That is all foreplay, your family dynamic and this type of thing, especially to women. They need that nurturing and care. But my point is that the majority of most relationships are non-sexual. And people look at BDSM as, it's all about kink. It's all about foot worship or, crazy fetishes or furries, people dressing up in these like onesies, like the onesie pajamas, only they're, furry animal costumes, and they basically become an avatar and, make animal noises at each other. And I mean, to someone who doesn't participate in that, yeah, it sounds weird. But this is a judge-free zone, people. As long, and I've said this since I was a teenager, an early teenager, as long as it doesn't include children or animals, and everyone participating consents, then anything goes. Now, in the BDSM community, we have what's called safe, sane, and consensual. And if it doesn't meet those criteria, then you should not do it. Is it safe? What is the risk or potential for things to go wrong? Is it sane? There are some things that people want to do that is just not smart. And I'm not going to give examples of those because I'm going to do a show on those. So you'll just have to wait for that. Consensual. And there is a thing called consensual non-consent. And I can't really go into detail exactly about what that is, but just think about that. I'm going to consent to something, but I'm not. So, wink, wink. You're going to have to force me to do that. Consensual non-consent. That's a huge fetish. That's a big thing. Is that safe and sane? Obviously, it's consensual because it's been agreed upon. Is it safe and sane? That depends on exactly what is being forced and what is the psychological state. Are the safe words set up and clearly understood? And are both people going to immediately stop the second that safe word is said? I use a standard, red light system. Green, yellow, red. I'm a sadist. If I am flogging someone, I will check in with them. What color are you at? Where are you at? And green. Okay. Yellow. Okay. If they say red, it stops immediately. Yellow is, I'm pushing my limits. And then usually there's more to that. Yellow, I need a break. Or yellow, just slow down. But red, and why do we do that is because you get into this euphoric state. The endorphins start kicking and you become incredibly euphoric. So it becomes training. Like with martial arts or shooting a gun. I took a tactical weapons class once, and they tell you, train to do this. Get your routine. Set up your house in a certain way and run these routines. Wake your wife up in the middle of the night like somebody's breaking in for you to take position to protect your family, or, and have your wife wake you up, and you don't know that this is going to happen. So you're just sleeping. And all of a sudden, somebody's in the house. You grab your gun or your ball bat or whatever you use to protect yourself with, and you do what you have learned. So it just becomes your nature to do it. So the mind will kick in automatically when things become too intense, and you will say red. Or yellow, slow down. Give me just a minute. It doesn't matter how much of a euphoric state you're in. So, safe, sane, and consensual. There's a fourth one, and that one is informed. And that is a very, very important one as well. That kind of, it's like people understand that in order for things to be consensual, you have to be informed. But it needs to be said because it is actually often forgotten. Oh, I didn't know that was going to take place. And one of the best examples of that actually involves other people. Say you have a fetish. You enjoy flashing people or doing sexual acts in front of other people. So, say you go on a hike back to some waterfalls and you have sex with your partner in the woods and people walk by and see you. Were they informed that was going to take place? No. Therefore, it was not consensual because they were not informed. These are just things that people need to really, truly understand. Safe, sane, consensual, and informed. There is an app. It's on Android. I'm sure it's on the iPhone as well. And I'm not endorsing this app. I'm just mentioning it. But it has a code. I'm looking it up. I think I actually deleted it. Oh, it was good too. Let's see. The app is called Kinky. Knki. And they have a code that you sign up for. It is a BDSM app. It's a dating app. It will find people close to you, and there's a lot of apps like that. But Kinky is an acronym. It's the first K is knowledge. I will educate myself so that I have a clear understanding about the basics of BDSM, including consent, safe words, and power exchange. The N, no intolerance. I will not judge a person or criticize them if their kinks do not align with my own. K is